Hey, it's Marcos from CV Pools. Just a little tip on these salt systems. This is Hayward. This is a Hayward salt cell. It normally looks like that. There's aftermarket ones that don't look anything like that, but it's a T15. But the problem that this one was having was this little display board that's here in the front. When you would touch it, it would flip out. But look, you can see how it's staying. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So you're looking at this saying, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. So you would touch it or do this, and then the numbers would flip out. Or if you went through the sequence here, it would have a problem. Okay, so let's go through the screens really quick. So it defaults, when you turn it on, it defaults to this 3,200 parts per million average. Degrees of water. Voltage at minimum of 24 volts. Amperage, that depends on how much salt is in the water. Percentage, that's this. You can turn it up or down, whatever. Real-time salt parts per million, that's what's going through the tube. Whoops, I pushed it. Let's go back. Real-time, I don't know. Revision, so the board is 1.59, I'm sorry, that's the latest revision. The size of the cell, T15 is for 40,000 gallons or less. And then back to the front screen. Now the whole point of this is that if it's, you saw that I went through that, there was no fidgety, nothing, right? It didn't blink, it didn't get weird, nothing. The lights stayed on, everything, cool. So what did I do? Because when I got here and I touched the board, it was like shutter, a bunch of gibberish would come out right here. I just took this off and I cleaned these prongs. Okay. Now this, I think online it's probably somewhere in the ballpark between 125 and 150, maybe more. You might find aftermarket ones. But you buy one of these, little piece of sandpaper, and all I did was just sand the prongs off with the contacts. You see that white bracket right there? That's where it goes through the back there. You see those little holes? Now those could be corroded. I can't get in there to sand that. So I sanded this and just kind of like, it didn't look corroded, but I just roughed it up a little bit. And when I put the screen back on, forgive me, you gotta make sure. I always put the prongs in first, okay, so I could see. That way they don't bend. And then once they're in, then I aim for the standoffs, which are the little plastic, these little things right here are called standoffs. So miraculously, all Hayward stuff has this size. Anyway, so once I did that and I plugged it back in, it was steady spaghetti, no problems. Okay, no weirdness, no. Now sometimes, I already tried this, just so that you know, but when you put this on, one of the most things is that little hole, that diagnostics hole. It'll keep this depressed. So you got to make sure you kind of wiggle it around when you put it on here. Let's try that. As you switch it on, you see how it kind of gets stuck there? You got to kind of do the little wiggly thing so that it gets back there. And then make sure that it's not doing it while the cover's on, okay? So you kind of move the cover around. There's a little like finger hole right here. You can kind of wiggle it back and forth. You're going to make a, let's see, do this. Nothing. See, solid. Now it did change because that's how small that hole is. Okay? But it's pretty, it looks like it's doing all right now. So anyway, sand first, replace second. That's the whole message. Peace.